I am not sure if you recognize me from all the Motherland, Fort Salem, Switches Eve fun that we've been having.
Oh, cross-pollination. My worlds are colliding.
Right?
Motherland, Fort Salem. You guys are awesome. Really, truly.
What these switches don't do for each other, like the community that they've built is unbelievable, and I'm very happy and fortunate and blessed to be a part of it, and the way they take care of each other, and of course the interactions with the cast.
Yeah. No, community is the right word for it. Yeah, absolutely.
As a longtime fan of your work, we're here to talk about Virgin River, not specifically
Sorry, that was me. We got distracted. Hold on.
But I do want to say, of course, happy season six Virgin River launch here that we just had from yesterday.
Crazy.
Season six of such a really wonderful, warm, and reverent show. It's kind of rare these days. What do you really? I know you're sort of a recent
Yeah.
addition. What do you kind of attribute then to the longevity of the series as much as the love?
Yeah, well, it's so funny that we're talking about community and community building around a show. I think really that's part of the magic of Virgin River is this notion of this place that you can our shared values and um, people really show up for one another, even though there's kind of like any family, there's that one cousin. We don't really know what to do about him, but we love him. We'll never turn him away. Um, yeah, that there's this place that you can come to that offers this sense of community that maybe we felt like we've lost a little. And what I sort of one of the things that I personally love about Virgin River is the representation of relationship, where it's a very female centered show. The female characters in the show are very strong. They have, their own minds and their own lives, but they enter into these relationships. And so often, uh, with men who are vulnerable with them, who listen, who act out of curiosity instead of defensiveness. I love the relationship representations in Virgin River. I think we're kind of living vicariously through all this open communication.
Right? How much
Conflict
healthiness is,
resolution.
is, is shown in this show? Like,
Right. I was like, this is good. This is good modeling. Maybe, this is how we got to get our partners to start watching this show. Which they do, by the way.
right, right.
One of the groups of people that I am consistently not surprised now, but it happens more and more, is men who come up to me and tell me how much they love the show. And they always say, they're like, well, my mom was a fan and I was watching it, or my wife watches the show, like as a like an
As a precursor.
and I was like, you walked by a few times, but then you sat down.
You actively chose to continue watching. Okay, so
Sat down and you've been watching this show because you have details. And I was like, that's good. That's good. You take some cues from the modeling that you're seeing in this show. Let's go with that. Listen, the revolution will come whichever way it needs to.
reach. Well,
Green.
speaking, you're giving out free life advice. We're having therapy instead of having a
It's all therapy. Okay. At this point, it's the therapy we can afford. Yeah.
We talk about community, we talk about this town that the series is based around, and now that your character has kind of staying put and stuck some roots, um, she's kind of able to develop more relationships outside of a romantic relationship that is part of a big part of the story that we see from your character as well. What does now being a part of this town and having those roots and sort of settling in a way mean for her, both personally and, of course, from the perspective of season six and the
Yeah.
storylines we see for Kaya?
Yeah. when we meet Kaya, she is quite a kind of lone wolf, independent, rolling through the town kind of way. But I was thinking about this the other day, and just the little bits that I have built around the things that I know, like growing up in Colorado, having a big family, having family traditions. She comes from that sense of community and that commitment to family. That is a part of how she's made up. She was going through it for a minute. And she just had to be out by herself for a minute just to see what was going on. But I think she recognizes that need for that connection and that openness and just acceptance of people that comes along with putting down roots and being a part of a community. I think that's part of what how she's made up. I think that's how it makes it so easy for her to just kind of fit right in, because she's like, oh, I know how this goes. This is actually a part of who I am. But more also, I think it's an opportunity for her to carve out a new way of being in the world, right? She finally kind of gets to step into her own leadership and her own maturity and her own sense of place and build this life around her where she's got a crew. She's running stuff. She's taking care of things at home and at work. So I think that's just all a part of like being a well-rounded person. And here's this great opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and part of developing personal relationship is, trust and being able to rely on other people. And we talk about her being like this lone wolf and very independent, but you start to develop again those roots, you develop friendships, you learn a little bit about someone else in the town or 20 other people from one person. More than
they
you
all
want
came
to
they came in a
know.
package deal. Yeah.
The town dynamics as they be
Yeah.
that's what putting down roots and is getting to know other people and in turn them getting to know you,
Well,
so
and I think, because Preacher is such a trustworthy person within the community, for him to say, well, I choose her, right? She is partly a reflection of me. And that goes a long way as well. Because they're like, oh, okay, we love you. So if this is a person that you want to be with, then we have to take a good look.
well, when you started to kind of look over the scripts, or the scripts came in for season 6, and the trajectory that we see for Kaya this season, what kind of really stood out for you? Whether it was something like emotionally for her or something, story wise within the writing that you saw that kind of struck you, that we will get to, you know, to see as those are starting to watch and see season 6 since it's been
I think
released.
it was really important that they Kaya was given an opportunity to kind of have that choice tested, and have that strength and that togetherness really put under pressure, right? She can't fix it. She is so used to being able to fix things, and when things weren't working for her, she just left. But now she can't do any of those things, and she has to refine that strength, but by staying put. She can't make the decisions that she made before. So I really loved that they were given an opportunity to really test those choices, about staying there and being together and what commitment really means. Um, and and that she is in love, and that she gets to admit that. And because it yeah, there were a couple of scripts there she was really like wrestling with it. It's like, I don't, what does it mean? What does it mean if I say these things? Because I know what it means to me, but does it mean the same thing to you? Are we speaking the same language when we say those words? That was a really powerful moment for me. And then, well, having fun at the karaoke bar, that was fun. Everybody
Do
was like, "Oh no, we
tell.
have to get up on stage and we're dancing or we're singing this song," and it's like it's awkward. And I was like, "No, this is exactly what karaoke is like." You stand up in front of
You
people
got
and
to have the
are
authentic
slightly embarrassed.
experience.
You just gotta sing so loud.
No inhibitions when you do karaoke. Like those go out the window, and a lot like a lot like when you get into certain circumstances, but your inhibitions have to find their way out for a little while at
You gotta
least.
find the fun and not think about so much about like, yeah, what you look like or what you sound like. Yeah. And well, and then just getting to be at the wedding and just getting to be, yeah, in that feeling and that possibility of what things could be, and you always love to be around true love, you know. It's important to witness it as well, and then to kind of have it be tested about, well, what does it really mean for us? Yeah. You know what happens at weddings? People get together, people break up, find somebody else in the bushes, otherbody.
I mean, I was just gonna say, speaking of weddings, you just had recently ish your wedding.
I
Congratulations.
did very recently. Yeah, it
Oh,
was like a couple months ago. Yeah. Even.
bring back some memories, or I mean, depending on when you filmed it, obviously, maybe they intertwined a little memory.
No, no, no. I got married recently, like the end of September. And yeah, it was one of those things like things went wrong at the last minute. We couldn't do it on the day that we were said we were going to do it. I couldn't wear the dress that I had originally bought, so I'm like flying around trying to find a dress 3 days before. Can't get it altered. My bouquet didn't arrive. Like all this stuff. The
That's the
pianist
hallmark
got
of
sick.
weddings.
They didn't show up. We had lost our musician. It was all this stuff, but it was perfect. It was we did it ourselves. My husband and I planned the whole thing ourselves, top to bottom, and it was just really special, and it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
That's what I mean. Weddings are memorable in themselves and sentimental and stuff in themselves. But when you have like a story behind things like, your dress didn't show up or the flowers were, like how much better sort of, or like how much more meaningful sort of does, that sort of signify when you have like
Exactly.
later on and you're telling these stories to everyone and you're telling it to me and like it makes it a little bit more, I guess, sweeter thinking now that you're out of, out of the vision.
Goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. And luckily, I did have friends who have been married and this, were able to remind me. They're like, listen, what you get out of the deal is the husband,
Permanent husband, yeah.
the photos, and the ring. And that's all you have to focus on. You got to focus because those are going to be the true memories of the day. Everything else is whatever it is, but what you get left with is the husband, the photos, and the ring. So just make sure those are good and that you're having fun, and everything else doesn't matter.
Then I would just sort of want to ask to leave things like where we leave things lingering towards season seven. We do have a season seven of Virgin River. What do you kind of hope sticks around with fans while they wait for season seven? What do you kind of hope they've taken away from watching this season while we wait?
Yes, Lisa, that's such a hard question. I guess, like, what would you do? There's a lot of people put in some sticky situations, almost everybody, having questions put before them and like real crossroad choices ahead of them. And it's like, well, what would you do?
It's like a choose your own adventure in a way. Like, what would you do? Like, if
Really is.
this circumstance, and you
Yeah.
have a whole year or so or whatever to ponder it now, right?
I want, after watching the show, I'm like, I want to get back to it because it's like all the feelings are back and it's like we were just there and it's like, okay, let's get back into it, let's dive right in and use that momentum. But we'll see. We'll see when it happens.
Well, thank you, Candace. It's such a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with you as a longtime fan. I love your work, of course, on Motherland. Your work with Amalia in the final season of Motherland was so meaningful and so beautiful. I really, that's sort of imprinted on my heart from
So
watching the series. So thank you for your work with that show. Of course, thank you for all the work you do through Virgin River as well.
it's my pleasure. It's been so great talking to you, Lisa. Thank you.